I want to take a few moments to help get you acquainted with the Common Sense Media digital citizenship resources and the website where I have moved the lessons to so they're a little bit more accessible. Um, this particular curriculum is one of the most popular that is used in schools across the United States and really around the world. It's broken into different grade bands, and we're going to look at the 9-12. And as you can see in the chart up here, there's different areas where the lessons are broken. They focus on some of these different areas in each of the different grade bands. So the hope is that kindergarten teachers are focusing on the Unit 1, because then Unit 2 is first grade, Unit 3 is second grade, and then skipping on up here, ninth grade teachers are going to focus on Unit 1, sophomore teachers on Unit 2, and so on. So that way we're not repeating information, and kind of the kids or the students are just, they go through those lessons one time instead of being hit with that same lesson 2 or 3 times over the course of their career here in Gering Public Schools. So let's go ahead and get started. What I did was I put together a Google site that just has all of the lessons that you can get to from the Common Sense Media site, but I've broken it down because most of the lessons are set up to do during a 45 to 60 minute block of time. And since we're going to do some of this during Bulldog time, we obviously only have 20 minutes. So I've gone in and just kind of found a natural breaking point in those lessons, and hopefully it times out right. So the first page here really will just, it's a link to the Common Sense Media site if you ever need to get to that for any reason. So just know that that's always just right here under digital citizenship. And then I just go through a little bit about what the lessons are and what the purpose of it is. So let's go ahead, and we're just going to hop into ninth grade here just for an example. And all these pages are set up the same. You've got the lessons here along the side, and I believe what I've been told at this point anyway is that we will probably have about 5 days over the course of, I don't know if that's over the course of a year or course of a semester, to complete several of these modules. So my thinking is that from the teacher standpoint, I think you should be able to select the modules that you want to do. And then maybe if you have time during, if there's some extra Bulldog time in there or something, maybe then you can come back and finish some up if you want to do that. But let's say, for example, that you do the Digital Life 102. So I'm going to go ahead and open that here. And on all of the lessons, I have the International Society for Technology and Education standards here. And then I also have the learning objectives for each unit. Most, not all, but the vast majority, probably 80-85% of the lessons have a short little video that's anywhere from 1.5 up to about 5 minutes in length. And most of them are about 2 minutes. But usually those are shown with day 1. And I have it broken down into approximately a 20-minute lesson. And I give you a pacing guide. You don't have to live and die by that pacing guide. Sometimes you might spend 15 minutes just discussing the first question, and maybe you don't go on to do the rest of the lesson. And you know what? I guess in my mind, I think that's really okay. I would rather, if you have a good discussion going about the topic that we're supposed to be talking about for that week, I really don't have a problem if that's what you stick with, as long as it is really, it's on topic. But then, so here's, like, for example, for day 1, you'll spend 2 to 3 minutes discussing, the role of digital media in our lives. Then you'll show the video that's about 3 minutes long. And you can always pop this out to make it bigger. So as soon as it starts playing, you can do that. You don't have to watch it on this little tiny screen here. And then spend about 15 minutes going over the Media Smarts questions. And I tell you that's pages 5 and 6 in the PDF guide. And usually if you need to print something, I will tell you that, like, you need to print this ahead of time, and things like that. And you've got the PDF down here. So in order to print this, you're going to have to pop it out. So all you'll have to do is click this button here. And as soon as it loads, you'll be able to print it. You will not have to print these for each class or for one for every student. Some of these guides are like 10 or 15 pages long, and most of the time you just need a page or two out of it at the very most. What I've tried to do is make this as environmentally friendly as possible, so you're not printing tons and tons and tons of paper. Like I said, most of the time you'll be able to just display the questions or things like that on the board. You're not going to have to give students copies of anything. And when you do have to give copies, I usually tell you, print enough so groups of 3 and 4 kids have this. So you might need to print 5 or 6 copies. And that's it. But just take a look at that a few days in advance, maybe the week before. That way you'll have everything ready to go. And it's always a good idea just to take a look at what you're doing. Some of these PDFs can get a little bit tricky to follow their line of thinking. And a lot of times I only have come up with I've pulled one part of the lesson. So like this one, I've done both segments of the lesson and I've just split it in half. But other times, the 45-minute lesson, I might only take about 20 minutes of that out. And then we'll work on that during Bulldog time. And the things that I leave out are the things that were like you had to print a lot of things or that required students to actually be online researching and doing those types of things. There's only one lesson, and I think it was for 11th grade, that requires the use of a cell phone or computer for the lesson. And I figured, between the students that are in there, there'll be enough cell phones to go around if you happen to have a class where you don't have Chromebooks or a computer lab available. So I really think that's about it. If you find any problems with this, if you have any questions or see that I've left something off, please let me know. But I think this is going to be a great learning experience, and it's going to spark some really, really good and interesting discussions in class.